Heyo People, how's it going? My name's the Drawing Morgs, and today we have our first ever Art Talk Speedpaint. Now, this is going to be something that I'm most likely going to be doing with all of my speed paints from now on. This is due to the fact that I think just music playing in the background, it's nice and all, and some people like to use it for like background noise instead of looking up like actual songs and stuff. But I think that having these kind of talks with you guys is a lot better. It gets kind of a conversation going, I think. So today I am drawing Jacksepticeye. And here's the thing, guys. I have drawn this before. Back in about 2014/2015, I drew a picture for Jacksepticeye a while back. And recently I took a look at it, and I was looking at a lot of my old art, and I realized how much I want to redraw it all. Because I know that over the years I have greatly improved, and this drawing is no different. And I know why I got inspired to do this too. It's because recently, about less than a week ago, or at least more than a week ago, Jacksepticeye made an announcement where he was going to do like a big video for like fan art that people have drawn for him for this week for Halloween, for like Inktober and everything else. And it kinda, I don't expect me to get included in it, but it kind of inspired me to maybe redraw his, because I remember at the time I was very proud of that drawing, and now of course that I look at it, I'm just like, this was good at the time, but it's atrocious now. So I redrew it, I sketched it all out. I even had like my art teachers look it over to make sure the anatomy looked somewhat correct and everything. And I did do it in ink, like Jack wanted, but I think I like both of them equally. So probably in like one of the final cuts that I do, it's going to have both the old version, the ink version, and the digital version, and it's gonna be great. So the conversation that I want to kind of get started is the conversation of progression and change, because let's just admit it, artists, writers, and people who create, we don't realize when we improve, at least for me. Because I can tell you, my art style has changed so much over the years, and when you look back at it, you realize just how much has changed. Because let's just admit it, when we look back at our old art, we'll always say, yeah, it was awful. Oh, that's horrible. That was awful. Oh, I'm so glad I don't draw like that anymore. But you also have to realize how important that art is. And I know so many people who just see it as such a negative thing, like, I was such an awful drawer, oh, how did I do this mistake? And it's just like, because we were starting. You were starting, you're young, you're naive, you don't know how everything works yet. And I see progression and change as such an important thing, and it's something that we do every day. For me, as I keep drawing and drawing and drawing, my art keeps changing. It keeps evolving, it keeps progressing. I could say a few years ago where I denied that I would ever draw hands, that I would ever draw feet on a character, that I would ever draw a full body character that looked like a normal person and wasn't in the chibi style. I can tell you a time where all I said I would draw was anime art all the time, and that was it. I can tell you a time where I didn't think I was progressing, but in reality, I was. I was progressing every single day, just like any other artist would. With every piece that you draw, with everything that's created, it evolves. And for me, this picture is a sign of that. How much has changed is insane. The people I'm with now has changed. The people that I am inspired by now has changed. My thoughts, ideas have changed, and it's very strange. It's definitely something you realize as you start to get older. For those who are young artists out there who look back on their old art and think it's awful, or those who think their art is awful right now, just know that the more you keep going at something, the more you keep going and changing, learning, it will get better over time. You cannot get worse. You can only progress. And it's very strange to acknowledge that, because it's not something most people do acknowledge. Because change is sudden, it's small, it's quick. For me, for my progression, I started to do things differently. When I got into my junior year, I started learning new things. I started using different mediums of paints, color pencils, markers, everything else. The things that I'm not fantastic at, I started to learn it. The more that I was on YouTube, the more I did these speed paints, the more I learned different techniques to make my art better. And it's all changed. I remember a time, like I said, where I denied drawing realistically. I denied drawing anything that wasn't characters or fan art. And it's weird, because there is a time where we do have this mindset that we're never going to do something, and then in your future you realize that it's one of the main things that you do all the time. I have changed because I have learned things. I have absorbed things. I've taken in things. I've taken strides and risks. I finally can draw hands. I can finally draw feet. I can finally do so many things that I used to think were impossible, that I would never achieve. And it really is crazy. And from this point on, all I can do is get better. Maybe in another 2 or 3 years, I'll redraw this image again and see how much I've progressed once again. Because obviously, there's such a huge jump. I could even take a piece that I've drawn less than probably 6 months ago, redraw that, and it would have such a difference now that I wouldn't even believe that I did it. Because that's how much we change, evolve, and progress. And I know I'm probably droning on a lot, what it seems to you guys, but every single point that I'm saying is just what I think and feel. And I think not enough people sometimes know that. Because I can tell you, as an artist, people will say at any time that your art is great, but over time it will change. It will progress. And even if it seems like it won't. Because I do know some people who say, I can't draw for anything. All I can draw is stick figures. And I tell them all the time that all you have to do to get better is to practice. Don't let things hold you back, because I can tell you this now, it will happen at one point. Because I'll tell you, when I was younger, I didn't want to progress at one point. It was about 2 years ago, I didn't want to draw anything at all. I didn't want to draw for my classes, I didn't want to draw for my teachers, I didn't want to draw for myself. And it was mentally heartbreaking. And the sad part is, in that time that I didn't draw, I learned even more than I thought I ever would, because I watched instead. I practiced, I watched, I changed, I grew, and it really is something that I find very important. And this drawing, for me, is extremely important. And you know, I'm even going to use Jacksepticeye as an example, because let's just admit it, I watched him back when he first started, and he was not the guy he is now. He was very quiet. He didn't talk a lot. Well, he talked, but he was much more shy. But you can tell over the years, the more he did videos, the more he gained confidence in himself, the more he changed and learned, the better his content got, the better he got. And this applies to almost anything, not just art. This does apply to literally everything. But, I've rambled on enough. It's been literally 10 minutes in this recording, but, yeah, guys, just remember, keep practicing, keep working, and give yourself a bit more confidence at times. 'Cause, yeah, once in a while you are gonna think your art sucks. It just happens. And people will, at one point, also say the same thing. They won't like your art. But you just gotta keep going and progress and just keep changing, learning, and progressing. So anyways, guys, I hope you all enjoyed this video today, and peace out.